Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am Antoinette from Simply a Chic. In today's video, I am sharing with you guys my top 15 farmhouse DIYs that I have done on my channel. And these are the ones that were your favorites and mine, so I thought it would be fun to put them all together in one video, and I hope that you will enjoy. So the first project are these mason jar sconces. So I'm using these two Easter signs that I picked up from Dollar Tree, and I'm gonna use the back side of it. And instead of mason jars, I thought to use this Classico sauce jar that I saved to reuse for some project, and I have two of them. Some jute twine. Also, I am using two of these cabinet knobs and some greenery and florals. Firstly, I need to paint my signs and the jars with this acrylic white color from dollar store. I am leaving this jute to hang them with it. Then when everything is dry, I'm gonna use this brunette color and use the dry brush method to give it that distressed look. Then I am mixing a little bit of same brunette with some water and brush lightly over the signs. And then when everything is dry, I'm gonna glue these knobs to the signs using some E6000 with some hot glue. Then to hang these jars, I'm gonna take some twine and glue one end on this side of the jar like this, leaving some twine out, and glue it again to the other side as well. Then I'm gonna wrap the rest of the twine around the jar, couple of rounds to make it sturdy and strong. Then add some more glue to the end. And lastly, I'm adding a little bow to finish it. Now I'm gonna insert some flowers that I had in hand. I am just gonna play around with it. You could also find some beautiful flowers at Dollar Tree. Final step would be hanging these jars to the signs, and there I think they turned out super cute. For only few dollars I was able to recreate them. I am so happy with the way they turned out. Gonna show you guys how to make faux succulent arrangement. So I'm gonna use this tray that I thrifted long time ago, and this Pampered Chef caddy that I had for so long and I don't use anymore, so I thought it would be perfect for this project. And this greenery were from Dollar Tree, and I have these succulents. Some were from Dollar Tree and some were from HomeSense. I am also gonna use some of these river rocks, some floral foam, and some floral moss that I picked up from Dollar Tree. So at first I'm gonna paint this tray with this acrylic white paint that I had from Dollar Tree, and I'm just gonna paint the outside line from the top and the outside. No need to paint the bottom because it will be covered. So I gave this tray a couple of coats using blow dryer in the middle for speed dry. Now that it is dry, I am gonna place this caddy here in the middle of the tray. Then I am adding these floral foam, which I had to cut them in half so they can fit around the caddy like this. Then I am adding some floral moss, just enough to cover the floral foam. And then I am adding some of these river rocks. Then to fill the caddy, I am just gonna insert some of these wrapping paper in these holes like this. Then I will add some moss to cover everything. Now it's time to add some succulents. I am just gonna play around and place them all over the tray. Finally, I am adding this greenery stems on the top and there. I absolutely love the finished look and I think it looks beautiful and it will be perfect on any table. I'm gonna create this home sign and I have these 4 signs that I picked up from dollar store and I'm gonna use the back side of it only. I'm also using this flower from Dollar Tree and these letters that I hand draw. So at first I'm starting off cutting this jute to paint the back of each sign using this acrylic white paint from dollar store. So I'm gonna go ahead and paint all of them and allow them to dry. Next I will be cutting these letters that I hand draw on a piece of paper. You could buy them ready-made at any craft store or make them on a Cricut machine if you have one. Also, I forgot to mention that I will be using this placemat from Dollar Tree as well to create my letters. But first, I am cutting this circle that says enjoy every moment in case I will need it for another project. So here I am placing each letter on the placemat and trace it over the placemat. And then when I am done with all 3 letters, I'm gonna go ahead and cut each letter. Now that I have all my letters H, M, and E ready, and I will be using this flower for letter O, I am removing this welcome part to save it for another project. So now I will be paint everything with this acrylic silver paint from dollar store, and I'm gonna give them a couple coats of paint to give it that galvanized look. Now that my signs are dry, I'm gonna create some lines in between these things, just like how they have them in the original sign, to make it look like blocks. So I'm gonna go ahead, use a pencil and do that on all 4 boards. Then I'm gonna sand the edges a little bit with this scrub. Then I'm just gonna dry brush over it with this acrylic Bernat from dollar store, or you could use any brown to give it that distressed look. Then I use a little bit of same Bernat color, mix it with some water very well, then I brush it lightly on each board like this to give it that brushed finished wood. Next, I glued the letters on each board. I use hot glue. You could use E6000 or any glue you have in hand. Lastly, I decided to add some greenery, and I had this foliage floral in hand. So I took few off the stems and I glued them on the top of each board. I used a little twine to make small bow and hot glue it on top like this. And I think it looks so cute. To hang them, I used same jute that was there but on the other way. I hung them horizontally on this wall, but you could hang them vertically if you like to. This wall comes in across the back door of our home when we first enter from the garage. So this sign would be the first thing to see whenever my family or my clients enter the door. I absolutely love how beautiful this turned out. I am using these 3 different sizes terracotta pots from Dollar Tree. I'm gonna paint them in same acrylic white color. Then I am using the dry brush technique to give it that aged look. And then I am adding some wrapping paper inside the large terracotta pot, then top it with some floral foams like this. Then add the medium size on top of the foam. I hot glue it to secure it in place. Then I did same thing here and hot glued the small pot on the top. Then I added some moss and some pebbles. Lastly, I added some succulents. Feel free to add any greenery or even add some real plants. I am thinking to do a bigger sizes terracotta pot for my garden and grow some fresh herbs or flowers. Next project was this gorgeous centerpiece that was really simple and super easy to make. I used 4 of these glass containers that I got from Dollar Tree a long time ago. I painted them with this acrylic white color from Dollar Tree as well. And once they were dried, I went and used some brown color in this paper towel and I went lightly over it to give it that aged look. Then I glued a piece of floral foam inside each container. Then I sticked some lavender stems that I had around the house into the foam. I did that with all 4 jars. Then I added some twine around the neck of each jar. And on this tray that I thrifted long time ago, I placed them and I thought they looked really pretty. So I used a different size topiary balls that I thrifted some and some were from dollar store. I also needed 2 pots that I already had, few foam blocks from Dollar Tree and the curtain rod that I thrifted. First I spray painted the pots with this Rust-Oleum white color and once they were dry I filled them with some baby rocks to add some weight. Then I put some foam blocks in the middle. Then I inserted the curtain rod in the middle of the foam and added some Spanish moss to cover the rock. Then I started adding the biggest topiary ball. Then stacked it with the medium ball size. And last I added the smallest ball. Then I added the curtain rod ends on the top. Lastly I decided to add some twigs that I got from my backyard to give it more of that natural look. I really love how these topiary trees came out. It made me feel so proud that I was able to recreate them with so much less money than what they cost. So first I'm starting off with cutting my moss and separating it. Then I have the biggest size ball and this dowel. I am just gonna use my knife and make a hole for my dowel to fit easily inside the ball. Then I will brush some Mod Podge on the entire ball and then cover it with moss. It wasn't sticking quite well, so I started to add more of the Mod Podge and stick the moss on top of it. It was a bit struggling, but it worked fine at the end, and I made 2 more balls, then I let them settle. Once they were dry, I inserted some floral foams inside my planter. Then I assembled the first topiary ball. Then I added the small one on top of it. Then I decided to add some twigs in between the topiaries to give it a natural look. And the second one, I made it a little bit different. So first I added the floral foam inside the planter, and then I stick the dowel, leaving some space between the planter and the topiary ball. Then I cover it with some Spanish moss. Again, I added some twigs for more of that natural look. And here how they turned out. I think they look really cute. I had these cable spools sitting in my garage. My husband recycled them from his construction projects, and I always thought to upcycle them and use them around my house. So I searched on Pinterest and I found a couple of ideas that I really like. But as you can see, these spools are small, so I thought to stack them up like this, but I don't like how even they look. So what I'm gonna do here, I had this twisted poly rope from Dollar Tree. I will use some hot glue and glue it around the rim few times like this. And once that's done, I add some extra hot glue to the bottom to reinforce it. And the reason I'm doing that is because I wanted to create a tiered table, and I want the one at the bottom to look a little bigger. So I am wrapping the rope 5 times around, and when I add the second tier, I will wrap 3 times around and then 1 time around the top tier. So I will stack the second spool and attach with some hot glue. Then I will go ahead and glue the rope around the rim of the second tier 3 times. Once that's done, I do same thing on the top tier, but only 1 round this time. So now that I have my tier table done, I'm gonna go ahead and paint it with this chalked linen white. And once I finish painting, I use hair dryer to speed up the drying process. Now that it is completely dry, I use some sandpaper and sand everything to give it that weathered natural look. After that, I used some acrylic brown color that I had on hand from Dollar Tree to do the dry brush method and brush over it to give it that age distressed look. I also used some black as well. Now here is how it looks. I really love how it came out so far. I will put this table on my front porch between my two patio chairs and display some summer coastal beach decor on it. But for now, I will keep it inside my home. And let me show you how I styled it just to give you some ideas. Everything you see on this tiered table I already had around my home or I recently DIY'd. Lately I am creating a coastal beach decor theme for my home for this spring and summer, and I already posted 2 DIY summer videos on my channel. I will link part 1 and part 2 for you to check out in case you haven't seen them. I picked up this sign from Dollar Tree. I'm gonna go ahead and start painting it with this chalked linens white paint, and I will give it 2 coats. Also, I will paint this wooden ladder that was from Michael's long time ago. I used it in a DIY spring and summer wreath. I will link that video down in case you want to check it out. And once the sign is dry, I will sand the edges with this sanding sponge from Dollar Tree. Then I'm gonna go ahead, use a pencil and underline the sign as you see me doing here. And then I use the dry brush method with this acrylic brunette that I use all the time. But then I decided to brush all over it with the same brunette paint. I mixed it with a little bit of water just to give it that finished distressed look. And once that dry, I hot glue the letter K on the sign like this. Then I go ahead and glue some of these fall flower that I already had from Dollar Tree. is the finished look. I absolutely love it. I think it turned out super pretty. For this project, I'm gonna need one small crate that you could find at Dollar Tree, one of these wood wheels that I got from Michael's long time ago, and you can also use any bottle cap, some floral foam, some greenery bouquet, some green moss, few of these giant barbecue skewers, and some paint. I will leave all the materials that I am using today in the description box below in case you are interested. So I'm gonna start with the crate, and at first I need to make two legs out of this dowel. I am gonna cut about 2 inches long for each leg. Then I'm gonna hot glue them down on the bottom of the crate right at each corner of this side. Next, I'm gonna take 2 barbecue skewers and cut them to 12 inches long. And then I hot glue them down at the bottom in between the 2 legs like this. Then I will take one wheel and I will cut a small piece of thinner barbecue skewer that can fit through the wheel like this one. And then I hot glue these skewers, one on each side of the little one that's coming through the wheel. And once I get my wheelbarrow together, I am gonna go ahead and paint it. I am using this acrylic espresso paint from Dollar Tree, and I am adding some water to it just to give it that stain look, and then I paint the whole thing, then let it dry. And once it's dry, I add some floral foam inside it. Then I add some green moss and some greenery just to add that cute touch of spring. I play with it until I get the look that I love, and once I am happy with how it looks, I take this wood sign and just stick it on this side, and that's it. I really love how cute this wheelbarrow came out, and I hope you like it too. Moving to next project, I'm gonna use this wood sign that I picked up from Dollarama and these wood letters from Dollar Tree to create word home. Also, I might use some ribbons or some florals. So here I have my home letters, and what I'm gonna do here is that I'm gonna put the O letter on the side and paint these letters with this acrylic black paint. And while I let them dry, I go ahead and work on my O letter, which I'm gonna use some of this wire jute to create a tiny wreath. And then I'm taking some of this gorgeous ribbon that I found at Dollarama and wrap it around the wire jute like this. And once these letters are dry, I am just gonna go ahead and hot glue everything down on the sign. Then for the hanger, I thought to embellish it with some of my favorite beads that I have tons of them, and you have seen me using them in a different DIYs. So I thought they will add a perfect touch of spring. And here how cute it turned out. I love the finished look of this mini home sign, and I hope you like it too. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hop to the next person, the first link in my description box below, and keep on hopping. To make this riser, I am gonna use 2 of these artist canvas from Dollar Tree, some beads, and I had this beads garland for a long time, but Dollar Tree has some beads as well. Also, I picked up a pack of these baby soothers from the baby shower favor section to use as a legs for my riser. So at first, I'm gonna remove all the covers from the canvas. Then I'm gonna go ahead and hot glue the beads around the canvas close to the edges like you see me doing. And once I finish that, I take a piece of foam board from Dollar Tree as well, and I cut 2 pieces to glue them in between the 2 canvas so there won't be any gap left in between them. So here I am using some hot glue and glue the 2 layers on top of each other. Then I take some E6000 and add on the beads like this, and then I add some hot glue as well. Then I add the second canvas on top like this. And once that's done, I put it on the side, and then I take these baby soothers. I am gonna try to cut this part off with the scissors, so wish me luck. And as you can see, I am struggling. It wasn't easy to cut them, but with a couple of tries, I was able to cut them off. And once I cut all of them, I am gonna save these rings for another project, and I'm just gonna use some sanding paper and sand them a little bit so the paint can stick well on them. So here how they look so far. Now I am gonna spray paint them with some white spray paint, and once they are dry, I use some E6000 and some hot glue to glue them on each corner at the bottom. And once the glue is dry, I flip it, and here how they look. Now it's time to paint the whole thing. So I am using some acrylic espresso from Dollar Tree, some cashmere tan, and some white paint. I am gonna play with it, use some different shades, and go over it again and again. And I'm gonna go ahead and lightly brush over the surface like you see me doing. I also brush over the sides, over the beads, and over the legs as well. I keep playing with it until I get the look that I am after, and then I will let it dry. Now here is the finished look, all decorated, and I love how it came out. Next project, I am gonna need 2 of these foam wreaths from Dollar Tree, and what I'm gonna do here is that I'm gonna cut one of the rings like this, then carefully I am gonna thread the other ring inside like you see me doing. And once they are chained, I will glue it back together with some E6000 and a dab of hot glue. Now I am gonna try this for the first time, which I am gonna add about 1 tablespoon of the baking soda and about 2 tablespoons of white chalk paint, then mix them together very well until I get this thick consistency. And once that's done, I am gonna go ahead and apply the mixture with a paintbrush to create a nice texture all over it. And here how the texture will look like. And once both rings are covered, then I'm gonna set them aside to dry. And here they are all dried. I love the texture. Now you can leave them as is or paint them however you prefer. I decided to use some of this acrylic gold from Dollar Tree and just dry brush a little bit over it just to highlight some of the texture. And that's it. I think it came out so cute. Next project is super easy to make. I am going to use one of these wood houses from Dollar Tree and one of these wood inspirational stickers from Dollar Tree as well. And I'm using this one that says, "Home is where your story begins." So I'm just gonna paint the inside of the house with some white paint, and I gave it 2 coats. And once it was dry, I used few of these tower blocks to glue them inside the house, then to stick the sign on top to give it that shadow box look. And then I take some jute twine and wrap it around the top few times like this. Then I embellish it with some beads. And that's done. How simple and cute is that? Next project is also simple. I am gonna need one of these placemats from Dollarama and one clear vase from Dollar Tree. And what I'm gonna do first is that I'm gonna remove this liner on the edges, and as you can see, it's really easy to remove it. And once that's done, I am gonna go ahead and measure how much I need to cover the vase. Then I go ahead and cut it out. And then I use some hot glue and glue it down. Next step, I will take it outside in the garage and spray paint it with this camouflage spray paint. And here's how it looks like. I added some greenery from Dollar Tree and I absolutely love how it came out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed these projects and I hope you found some of these ideas helpful. Please give this video a thumbs up and let me know in the comment below which one was your favorite project in today's video. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when I upload my next one. And until then, be well and have fun.